we'll just wing it. We should be. Hey guys, what's up? Can you hear us? I believe we're live. Let's double check this one more time. We are live. How's it going? Can we get a 5-5 just to make sure everyone can hear us? Cathleena, can you say something just to make sure we have some good audio?
Hello, everybody. Yay.
I'm pretty sure we should be able to hear you. So what's up, guys? We've had Cathleena on before. If you guys caught that episode, she came on talking about her frequency adjuster, which is a channeled Arcturian Technology. I think it's the Om healing wand, I believe you call it. Actually, I have it here.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know what it is, but we had her on before discussing this technology, and what it does, I guess, is it's designed to help rebalance the body, right? The chakras and everything.
It creates a 0 point. Actually, it's actually for the human template. Today, we're going to be introducing the Earth template. So.
Okay. So yeah, there's a lot to discuss. It's a really fascinating technology. This thing is awesome. It's really good to meditate with. It's super cool, actually. So if you want to know more about that, we talked about it on the last episode with her. And before we get started, just so you guys know, I'm sure most of the people listening know by now that we have moved over to Telegram primarily for our social media platform. We're on Instagram and Facebook too, but Telegram is primarily where we are. It's a lot of fun in the chat. That link is below. So come follow us on there, join the chat. It's a lot of fun. Right now that's where we are. We are on Foxhole and Pill.net now also. We've been having some trouble getting our videos on Foxhole, but those will definitely... What just happened to my computer? I just had a random ad pop up in the middle. No, but we'll definitely be posting more on Pill.net and Foxhole as we figure it out. So you can follow us over there too. And real quick, the Omnia radiation balancer, most of you guys know, probably everybody knows what it is by now. But do you have headaches? Are you experiencing sinus issues?
We'll start doing an infomercial.
Yeah.
Omnia radiation balancer.
These things are really amazing. Put them on your radiating device.
It's legit.
It harmonizes the frequency. So anybody's worried about 5G and all that stuff, it harmonizes it. It doesn't block it. It balances it and reharmonizes it and makes it beneficial for your body. So it's like a free energy technology device, actually. It's really great stuff. But we have 10% off that with promo code TRUTH, all caps. And we have our newest affiliate, Hopewell Farm CBD. They're putting out some great products, really fantastic CBD. I absolutely love it. I don't know what I even did before because I can't live without it now. It seems like, or at least I can't sleep without it.
Yeah.
But we have 15% off of that promo code Circle Back. And I know that's not going to last very long. I'm not sure how long that code's going to go, but promo code Circle Back gets you 15% off on the Hopewell Farm website. And that does stack with any purchase over free shipping with any purchase over $200 or more. And then we also have 20% off all of our Teespring merchandise with promo code Sleepy Joe. And that's going to go indefinitely. 20% is a lot. So take advantage of it, guys, because it won't last forever. So if you want to grab yourself some merchandise, go ahead and do that. And without further ado, welcome to the show, Cathleena. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. It's wonderful to be back. You guys are doing amazing. It's always incredible to be here.
So
thank you,
guys. The shirt I'm wearing right now is called the Earth Template. This is a symbol that Cathleena channeled, and it's not just a symbol, it's actually a technology. And we put it on a shirt, and she has the shirts available on her website. I put the shirt on, and I'm not even joking. I don't know what's going on, but it's like I'm buzzing right now. It's really the first time I've put it on to actually wear it. So it's really interesting what's happening. And we're going to let Cathleena explain this technology, where it came from, how you got the idea, how it manifested, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
The
And
floor is yours.
actually why it's specifically been put on a shirt actually right now, because I originally was going to put it on a piece of jewelry, which I do think will happen. But I was guided to actually have it on a shirt because, so what that is the Earth Templet. And so the frequency adjuster that you just saw, the handheld frequency adjuster, which I don't have one, I do have one, but I don't have it here with me, but he'll show it. Okay, so that one actually aligns us with what's called the human template. And this that he's wearing, and I have also one here, but this one is not in color, aligns you with what's called the Earth template. And so what they create what's a 0 point. It's called a 0 point. And so the easiest way to think about this is that, well, there's many things that are coming in about 0 point. So I think where I want to go with this initially is talking about what the 0 point actually is. The 0 point is the frequency of truth. So it's the place where it's the now moment without judgment. So it's the place where there's no thing and all possibilities exist. And it is in a geometry, God, there's so much energy coming from that template right now. I'm feeling this pull happening in terms of the energy. It's like so incredible. And there's downloads happening so fast. I'm like, okay, let me figure this out to be able to spit this out of my mouth here. What's coming in really strong is that, you know, in where we are right now in the world is that we've been dealing with this everything's backwards in human existence, this backward information and idea of 0 point is that it's the Luciferian consciousness, but it's the reptilian consciousness is basically inverted everything that's taken place on the planet.
Sure.
And this inversion also kind of does an inverted aspect of what we think is this now moment without judgment. And what that means is that we aren't actually in a 0 point with or a absolute neutral in terms of energies and frequencies, first and foremost in our body, and then one with the earth. And why this is important is because we are creators, we're creator beings. And how that works is that we are consciousness. And think about consciousness. This is not like the conscious mind. This is consciousness as information. So we, as a soul, as energy, we are this information. So we're each a unique aspect of source in this giant bit of information. And the design of the way that this is meant to happen in the physical body is that we take this giant bit of information and we download it into the physical brain. And so we are basically the software. The brain is like the hardware. So we download it into the physical brain, and then that information dialogues to the physical body and then creates out into the physical world. The way in which all of that occurs from, we'll say, sort of a larger perspective is with what's called a template. And what this is sort of, it's a blueprint of the physicality of the body. So it's this template is like a blueprint of sort of the possibilities of the physical body. So it's like, it doesn't exactly look like a body per se, but it has the qualities of, you know, 2 arms, 2 legs, so on and so on. But it's an energetic blueprint. And why we have to have this template and this, it's like a design, is because as consciousness just expands. That's what it does. But in order to create something in a type of physical form, in matter, it has to have some type of sort of container in order for it to, it still kind of expands, but what it does is it more expands on top of each other to create the idea of a physicality than just simply expand into infinity. And so if you think about that, how like an egg and sperm come together and make a baby, right? So the egg is a container of information. The sperm is information. It interacts with the egg. And then once the communication happens, it begins to divide, and it divides on top of each other inside of a container. If it didn't have the container, it would simply expand. So this is this kind of idea of a template, right? Which is what we're talking about. So as consciousness, as creating, we have the ability in a physical environment to the first sort of container and all possibilities to be able to create within is the body. So when this is at a place of zero, when this is in an authentic now moment 0 point, and your consciousness, who you are, is engaging in this actual zero where there isn't interference, so to speak. We're going to talk about some of these false frequencies. But when there's not interference, you have an unlimited ability to create from who you are within this body at an authentic zero.
So this shirt is acting as that container, this symbol.
Yes. Now that, yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Yes. Now, so the way in which we actually have the ability to create is first and foremost within the body. And then when the body's at 0 point, we also create one with the earth, because we are not just on the earth, we are with the earth, and we're with the earth's ascension. So it's sort of the second size container that we have the ability to create with as is the earth. And so that represents the earth template. And when that is also at 0 point aligned with you, which is why it's on you, why it's on your body, because now your physical body is coming into zero with the earth coming into zero. And that means that you are now literally one with the ascension process of the earth and all possibilities of creating one with the earth in all possibilities. And so what you have there in the experience are the authentic frequencies that we're meant to experience on this earth. Source had in mind, each planet, so to speak, has what are called resonance frequencies in order for us to have an experience. It's the difference between an Earth experience and a Mars experience. So the resonance frequencies on this planet are love, truth, beauty, and goodness. That is what those represent on that shirt right there. That technology is representing the authentic frequencies of love, truth, beauty, goodness. Also, that represents the Hieros Gamos, which is the balance between the masculine and feminine. And then it's all of it coming together, which is your light body. So there's the star tetrahedron. And then we've also infused it. I infused it with the frequency of abundance, which is the golden, because that's actually the frequency of the central sun, which is the frequency of abundance. So you're getting an alignment to the earth template plus the frequency of abundance. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to create other ones that are going to align with other specific frequencies. But what that's creating is a 0 point for these authentic frequencies within the earth template. Now, I'm explaining a little bit more why it's important and why it's on your shirt is because, so when this reptilian consciousness came here and this Luciferian energy and flipping and changing everything, what happened was, is in sort of a simplistic way, the original grid system, what a grid system is it's a communication for, it's a way to communicate frequencies. So a grid allows for certain frequencies to kind of move through it and come into, an environment, so to speak. So the grid system allowed for these original frequencies, authentic frequencies of love, truth, beauty, goodness to come in to the earth in all ranges of those, okay? And they're authentic because they have kind of a wavelength to them. They have an authenticity to them. It's at a certain point, the grid system was changed and closed off. And so when that happened, these authentic frequencies were no longer able to be felt. They were no longer connected. Not only that, but it basically, you want to think about that, with us we're not just communicating with each other. When we are aligned to a 0 point, we are one with all creation, all, not one, not anything, all, right?
Mhm.
So that's our normal, right? And that's what's happening in the ascension. That's the awareness of the multidimensional body, all the, the Arcturians, all the different things that are happening now, is there's this authentic range that's happening. When this reptilian consciousness came along and had cut off the grid, that cut that off. And when that happened, we were introduced to basically the frequency of fear. And fear is a not authentic frequency. Fear is what's called a chaos frequency. And it's chaos because it has no natural rhythm. It bounces. It's not authentic, and it's bouncing. That's why you can't stop it. You can't change it. It just bounces you all over the place. You don't even know what you're feeling. So this is this kind of chaotic frequency that was introduced.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was just to add, and I actually resonate with everything you're saying. I fully agree with that, and I think a lot of people are understanding that as a reality now more and more these days. But what's really interesting is whenever you presented this design to us and asked us to create it and for a shirt, Aaron actually is the one who got in the computer and put it together, and we gave it back to her, and she's like, no, I'm not feeling the energy. Like, it was just off a little bit. She's like, it has to be
right at first.
It has to be precise.
Yes.
So we had to, I should say, Aaron, he did the work.
I tried to recreate it, but it wasn't exact. And you said it's because it's an exact technology, you said.
Yes, it's an exact technology. Yeah, that is not just an arbitrary design. It's very specific. And that's what I'm getting at. It's very specific because this ties into, actually, interesting enough, the whole quantum financial system that's coming in is all related to this, because the quantum understanding, actually the difference between what this Luciferian consciousness had created in this binary, even in terms of like the computer system and all that, is all based in this frequency of like the fear, because it's opposites, it's bouncing, it's confusion. But the difference between that and the quantum level and the authentic frequencies, which that is it creates an infinity. It's an infinity loop, because what it is that all things are in now time. And I say that a lot because this is what, when I'm doing all of my activations and even this, all of this energy, and bringing that, and you can feel there's so much energy going on right now, that it's in the now time. And the now time is the only authentic time, which means it's always in now time. So it's never questionable. It can't possibly be, because it's always in the now time. And that's what I'm trying to get at about the authentic frequencies and the authentic templates and understanding about this. And what's been convoluted is taking you out of that, and where humanity's been sitting in this false frequencies and being literally in the range of fear, because we as humanity have been indoctrinated with fear as your first base frequency. And so what's happened is that all other frequencies are in the range of fear until you come into the authentic 0 point. And that's why it came in, these technologies have come in. It's also why it's on your shirt, is because that's why I was guided to put it on a shirt, was to help humanity have a much easier ability right now to be able to be in an authentic 0 point moment, to be able to feel love, truth, beauty, goodness in your now, in your day-to-day, to help bring that in, to sort of not engage with this fear frequency. Because, and here's an example of what this means about non-authentic. So say an example might be an individual who, say you're really upset and you're lonely and you want a relationship. And so you're in this energy of feeling terrible and upset, and suddenly you meet someone and you feel like, oh yes, and now I feel happy and I'm so excited. And so you think that's an authentic feeling and love. But I say to you that it's not, because you simply moved from this feeling of feeling distraught to a feeling of happy, which means, this is where it's tricky. This is why it's very tricky, because it's still in the range of fear, because you didn't come into neutral first. See, if you're in the place of feeling distraught and you come into a place of neutrality with no judgment, and then you meet someone and you feel happy, that is authentic happy, because you're actually, we're in a place of pure experience. Otherwise, you're not. You're in the range of still, we'll say, upset, pulling yourself out of it. And this is what humanity's been guided to do, right? Is to replace one for the other, kind of in the energy, instead of actually having an authentic experience. Because think about what that does, is that keeps me always in the past or the future. I'm never truly in the now, because I'm never really in who I am. I don't discover that. I simply am pulled out of something. You see, that's this game.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. It's actually really important too. It's very huge. It's very important.
Yeah.
And it's also about, like, you're talking about you meeting somebody and you're distraught, and then all of a sudden you're happy. Then that tells you you're not really where you want to be anyway, because now you're trying
to be saved by the external.
Exactly.
Exactly. To the external to be okay and to be happy.
Yes. Yes. And what's key about that is, again, talk about the backwards, right? So we, in that scenario, again.
One second. Somebody's asking where they can get the shirt. Before we forget, we'll say it one more time. So it's on the frequency adjuster.
Yeah.
And that link is in the description. And I think Aaron's going to post it again.
I'll post it again.
Yeah. And just remember, when you go there, you're going to have to copy and paste the link that you'll see there, because it wouldn't just click on for some reason. So, and it will take you to a different site, but that's okay. That's where they're going to be purchased from.
Okay. So frequencyadjuster.com. Aaron just put it in the chat. Anyway, continue. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay. So the same thing about backwards is that, you know, what we just talked about, again, this false idea, it's that we've been taught to react to my outside world and have an emotional experience based on what I think is going on outside, now inside, instead of recognizing, again, at the 0 point, everything's here. This is the millionaire. This is the dream. This entire body is all the experience. Because what did I say to you in the beginning of this, right? We are consciousness. We're downloading ourselves into this brain and into the body, which I want to talk about that for a second, because we're not actually doing that. And this is another piece about this convoluted matrix that's going on and all the little things that are going on with it. But just from the perspective we're talking about here, that, you know, we've been, because fear is our base frequency, we start out bouncing around trying to figure it out, because what fear's doing is it's making us try to fix it, you know, because we don't understand, instead of simply just allowing it. And this is what we learn when we can come in that 0 point, we become the observer of it, and then we just let it play out. It's nothing, right? Mm-hmm. That's how you get into the authentic. But what we've been guided to do is, you know, that hide in here, don't show up, don't be authentic, and react out there. And then when that reaction, you know, whatever it is that's going on, we think out here, that's dialoguing back. But that's not authentic. The authentic is in recognizing, look, all of my life is my experience of it. Absolutely everything. And it's all about frequencies. All we're doing is matching frequencies. We are consciousness, and what consciousness is, frequencies and energies. And what it's doing is it's exchanging information with other frequencies and energies. That's what it's doing. We're doing that, right? So the process of creation is whatever I'm feeling here is what I'm going to match out there. But we've been guided, like I said, to go, whatever I got out here, match that. So there's the backwards. You see what I mean? That's backwards. But here's something that's important too, and I actually have an ongoing series that people can still join if they go on my KathleenaHailley.com site. And it's related to this Earth template, and it's called Restoring Your Human Template, actually, to the Truth Frequency. And so what it is it's activations that clear false frequencies, the false masculine, the false feminine, false neutral. And why this is important, now this is about releasing what's called a mind matrix. So we hear a lot about the false matrix. And the matrix, if you can see it, I can see it, it looks, it's like a grid system, and it creates all this very interesting, it almost looks like a rubber sort of in an aspect of what it does. And because of the way that humanity has been guided to create, to have fear as its base frequency, what we have also done is we have created a kind of matrix within our mind and within our cellular body. And what it looks like is it's these pentagonal shaped boxes, like little pentagons. And of course the pentagon, because the pentagon is a closed container, it's also, that's the false frequency, that's the inverted frequency. And so what it's done is that it's created these like pentagonal shaped boxes sort of within your brain. Think about it like a grid within your brain. And so how I describe that we're meant to do, which is take this giant library of information called your soul, right? Your giant library. We download that into the brain and that communicates to the body. But what we've been doing now instead is we're taking this giant library of information and we're sitting it inside these boxes within kind of our physical brain. And then we're listening to a book being read to us, which is basically the belief systems of the collective. All the things are who you are, what it means to be a man, a woman, whatever. And then we're dialoguing that information to the body, and that's what we're using to create. And these boxes actually aren't even, like when we're in these boxes and we're sitting and listening, they're not even communicating with each other. So it's like one is about relationships, and one is about how to make money, and one is about, how to create, a life or a family. And they're different, and they're not even communicating. That's how clever this, consciousness has done. And so again, this is how profound it is. About the first thing we have to do is first we have to get to the 0 point. And then once we're in the 0 point, we have to be allowing for these false frequencies to simply play out, and so like the example of the false masculine. So masculine frequency, mental masculine frequency is basically the blueprint of creation. So it's like the design of creation, right? Mm-hmm. The feminine spiritual energy is the designer or the painter or the fuel of creation. So if I, again, have a false, and you can think of examples, so the false aspect of the design, so to speak, of creation is when I'm told what I can and can't do on the planet.
Yeah, we're all used to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. The limitations, right? So that's how we've created like this matrix, is when we keep using, our mind of what we think we already know, and we're squeezing that to try to make something instead of, again, getting in the now moment, connecting to authentic, and which is what I did to bring that in.
Exactly. And most of our problems are just due to limitations on our belief systems. So it's not even is it a crisis or not? It's just a limitation of your belief system is the only reason it might be a problem.
Exactly. And so, one thing I say all the time is this is so simple, but yet so hard at the same time, but that's how clever and tricky that this reptilian and this Luciferian consciousness, because they just constantly have been flipping things that are really simplistic to us. Because on a simplistic level, what are we really saying? Oh, just be you, show up, You know,
Yeah.
be in the moment, because the sort of trick to this, right, is just be the like the little kid that shows up for the first time and be inquisitive and excited, because this is another piece. This is again why several things have happened. We have a grid system that's open now, that's allowing for these authentic frequencies to come in, so we actually can feel them. But why this was channeled, both of these templates are here, is to allow for, sort of almost give permission in a certain way, but allow for each individual to be in the now moment and begin to explore those feelings of excitement and exploration and curiosity, instead of what we've been guided as humanity to be in, which is a very small range of possibilities, emotions, which is more, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Anxieties or fears or so on, because this is, again, how we've been trained, right?
Just survival mode, just survival mode in general.
Constant survival mode. Yeah.
Yes, and think about how that happens when most people, when they get very present, they immediately go into panic mode, right? Which is why they don't. That's how, again, we've been guided not to do that. You know, don't be present. But this, when you have these two aligned to you, and again, it's not like you have to have them, but because we're being bombarded, which we know, just like you had that little technology that you have there for like the 5G or whatever, those are very real, and those are frequencies that are playing out. So it just means that it's much more challenging to be in that now moment and begin to feel these authentic frequencies. So this gives you, with both of those together, you have this huge possibility, very easy, which is what you're feeling now. So everything's coming down, because you can feel the energy just went, because I just brought that into the now, right? You feel that very centered, grounded, because we're showing you how you can be in that very centered, comfortable now moment, and then begin to step in for the first time in like anything that we have. And this is take us in so many different ways of conversation right now. But
well, I mean, everything you said, I mean, there's been a million thoughts come in my head as you were talking. It's all amazing stuff. Thank you for sharing all that.
Sure.
People who are just tuning in, what she is explaining is this template that's on my shirt right now. It's a channeled technology. She calls the Earth template. And just for anybody who's confused, that's what we're discussing, is this template that's on my shirt, which is available on the website that we mentioned earlier.
Yes. And it's an Arcturian technology, and it creates,
So I'm really interested. So what are your thoughts on the grip that the reptilians still have on the planet right now? Because I know they're losing grip, but they're still holding on, and they still have strongholds in certain areas. So what does that look like to you? Have you gotten any downloads as far as that information is concerned?
Yeah, well, what I see is it's not that they have a grip. It's that what you're seeing, and has to happen, is that all of this that's been going on, everything we've just been talking about all the cleverness and all that, has to come to the surface. So that's all that's happening. And it's going to come super strong, super hard. And why anybody who is very aligned to these frequencies, particularly of fear, they're going to start really feeling this. And so it's all to give humanity opportunity, because what we're here to do, like what I'm here to do, or all of us, that are in the light, is what we're doing, is it's not about, like we talk about, there really is two major timelines going on now. Of course, there's lots of different timelines. And what this reptilian consciousness and a lot of these, there's some others, are trying to do, is they're actually trying to shift the fabric of time itself, space, basically itself, which isn't going to happen, because that would be, thinking that you can change what created you, and so that isn't going to occur, right? But what they're doing is they're pumping up as much as they can to keep hold of what they had, and individuals who are really choosing, there are going to be people, and this is the thing, is there are people that are just don't want to wake up, and they are the ones feeding this, which is continually feeding it, and they're continuing. And there's of course a lot of energy that keeps pushing that in these directions, and you're hearing a lot of these dialogues. And so I think what's really important is just to realize it has to come up because I mean, just think about it from a practical perspective. If, say, I mean, even in a political, where there's a lot of people that wanted Trump to all of a sudden, you know, take office and do whatever, if you imagine that actually occurring, it wouldn't have solved anything really, because you still would have had all this separation. You would have had all this energy still in the same way. The way that things are occurring is it's everything has to come to the surface so that people can begin to allow themselves to let go of things that no longer serve them. And they just don't understand. You know what I mean? It's a little hard to quantify, but I think you know that, right? It's really that, yeah. And that's really what I talk about that a lot to people is, you know, it's not about, this is why we have to be in the place of neutrality. This is, again, why this template's very important, why we keep talking about this 0 point, because the 0 point is not just about being in the now. It is this quantum understanding of truth, of really the mathematical way in which all things are created. And so what you're seeing is an unwinding of that, you know, and if you could look at it from what I see, and when I'm looking at it, it's freeing up. So on a physical level in the body, when I see it, one thing that I'm definitely watching is that, you know, we have 12 strands of DNA, and that the 12 strands of DNA, all the information about the connection of them is within inside our body. It's just been confused, just like we've been confused. It's all been a game to keep a ball rolling. So just like how I described this frequency of fear that's bouncing around, well, that's what's happened to the 12 strands of DNA. They're kind of bouncing around. But as all of this is coming to the surface, there is this, it's also happening within the body. So this is the same thing about as above, as below, inside, as outside. So when you're looking at this in the world and all this chaos, all this stuff, well, whether you realize it or not, that is happening inside of you as well. And so those energies are coming up. And people are having, you know, they can have digestive issues, they can have whatever. But when that's occurring, what that's doing is it's information, just like it's information coming out. Because in what it looks like to me is it's like black and particles and its density, and it's just a dense bit of information. So it's the same thing. It's coming out of the body. And as it comes out of the body, now we have the opportunity for those 12 strands to start to align, because basically we no longer have an interference sort of blocking or in between what is already there. Because it's not like we have to necessarily learn anything. It's that we take out something that's blocking, you know, it's already there. That's why this is so simple yet difficult. It's just simply been that we have allowed for interference, so to speak.
It goes back to is like a limitations of the belief systems, right? So if you don't, if you're not going through an awakening and you don't believe in this, that's never going to get removed. You have to understand, like you have to believe that, yeah, this is going to work. This is all it's going to take. And unless you open your mind to that, it's not going to happen. So that's where the limitations of the mind, and that's been their game the whole time. It's a war on the mind. It's you know, that's what they're doing.
Yes. And the energy, but the thing is about that though, is that, yes, I absolutely, that you do need to believe it. However, what's happening is in this, everything coming up, it's like it's releasing places that either you're going to wake up and begin to know it, which is in essence, believe it from another level, or or you're going to probably go insane aspect. And because the density is so strong in that holding on to a false belief that isn't authentic energy, that it's like an intensity of fear that just breaks down the system, kind of, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I commented on somebody's Instagram post the other day, or talking about evolution, and I said something about, you know, what if it didn't happen that way? And
Yeah, just a question.
yeah, and
just
they're like,
asking.
they're like, oh man, you're too far gone. I hope you enjoy your brain rot. And just, you know, I left it at that. You don't respond to that, because you can't. You see where that person's at, and you know it's going to be pointless.
It's funny. It's like reversed though. It's like the people saying that are the ones, unfortunately.
I just wanted to let everybody know that my brain is rotting. So
yeah.
Well, I think that's again why we support that. So how you want to think about this, or at least how I have a vision of it, is to imagine that, you know, as a light being, we are literally the earth. As you imagine that we are this container of light, and then within it is this, we'll say, the darkness or the confusion. And what's happening is the light is getting brighter, but it's not as though it's going this way. It's sort of going inward, kind of, is the best way to think about it. That as the light continues to go, the darker is getting denser and denser. And so, but we are supporting it. We are not. So we are the support, giving the opportunity for those individuals, like that individual, to step in. So when you just simply open your heart, and you just, you know, with somebody like that, and they're saying that, and you simply kind of just be with that and be like, open your heart and be like, well, okay, you know, then what we're doing is we're staying in our neutrality, in that absolute 0 point, so that individual doesn't have anywhere to go with that. And the reason that they, you know, are lashing out is because because we're vibrating at such a different rate. And here's the thing, I'm sure I've shared this before, but I don't know with you, that this idea of matching, all we're doing is matching frequencies all the time. That's all we're doing in human existence. 100% is matching frequencies in order to be comfortable. So the simplest understanding of matching frequencies in terms of emotions is that if you and I come around each other, and one thing I will say about that too is that higher frequencies always try to raise lower ones up to match them. That's just the nature. That is how the universe works. So if you and I come around each other and I'm happy and you're mad, what's going to happen is my happy is going to give your mad a bump, because it's going to try to raise it. So I'm basically going to irritate you. Mm-hmm. And so as long as I maintain my happy, you only have two choices. You either meet me at happy, because it's about matching, or you go away. And you know that we've seen this, right? That you can be happy and get around somebody mad, and they're not happy till you're mad, because it's about matching.
It's about, misery loves company.
Yeah. And it's literally matching. So like that individual, and what you're going to start seeing is that the more that we have this idea of almost separation, it's not exactly separation like this and this. Like I said, it's more of thinking about a container that's brighter, and they're getting more condensed. But the more that you have that separation, the more that you're going to have that kind of lashing out. And that is what's occurring in this whole upheaval that's going on the planet and that's sort of the next piece that this consciousness, the reptilian consciousness, all that wants, is to keep sort of pushing the envelope so that humans go against humans in that way, you know, even more and more so. Right.
100%. Yeah. They
so
just want us against each other.
What do you say? Yeah.
I said they want us against each other. If we're divided, you know, they
that's why we need to support that. So when somebody comes at that, like that type of thing, we simply hold space for them in light and just be like, well, okay, you know, and just kind of support that, you know, and allow that individual the opportunity to step in, because often it's more challenging for people.
Well, and just the fact, just by doing that too, I feel like you're affecting their frequency, or you're at least getting them to be like, wait, why did they react like that? Why didn't they react?
Yes, exactly.
People expect you to react to something like that and lash back.
Yes.
When you don't get triggered.
Yes.
Yeah,
because you're feeding them some of that energy that they're already in, right?
Yeah, you said it. You're feeding them. It's fuel for them. Yeah.
Exactly. And so when we simply have the space, and this is what, because I've heard a lot of dialogue of there's so many levels of fear that people are going in. And I always just kind of remind them that we are creators and that fear is the frequency that this reptilian consciousness feeds on and desires. So that's again why it's almost like if you can't find happiness and joy, simply let go of fear and depression. And how do you do that? You just get present. If you can just get present, that's it.
I love that. I love that because that's what we're seeing the most of right now. A lot of people are going through stuff. They have stuff coming up that they've had buried for years. They have to deal with now.
Absolutely.
And there is depression going on. There's the morale is down in a lot of places, and just so that's important. What you just said, be present.
Yes, because we are creating now, and we're creating an authentic world. I say the new world, but it's really the authentic world. And so that's again why we go back to these templates that we have here. It allows for the person to be in a place of comfort in that now moment, to start to actually dream, to sort of almost give themselves permission to start to envision and dream and get excited about the world that they desire to see, instead of keep focusing on what they think is actually occurring. Mm-hmm. That's all part of the game, right?
Well, yeah. And right now, well, that's why it's like so hard for me to pay attention right now, even though it's like, I kind of like it because I like watching this movie, but it's like a really bad movie that you don't know if you want to finish it or if you just want to turn it off. Yeah. And that's where I'm at right now. Sometimes I just have no interest in what's going on right now because it just doesn't seem important. I know it's a show. I'm like, I don't want to put any of my energy into Biden said this, so-and-so said this deal happened. He signed this. He didn't sign this. He's a clone. He's a dummy, whatever. It's all show.
You're
and
getting off track if you're focusing on that.
The stuff that you're talking about tonight is the stuff that we should be focused on. And I know that's not easy. Most people aren't aware that some of this stuff is possible or that it even exists. Yeah. So just the fact that we're discussing it's important. Yeah. And I understand if people are getting sucked into it because it still happens to everybody.
Sure. Yeah, because people, see, I'm like you guys, maybe even a little bit further off the spectrum where, this is my life, right? So I'm downloading Arcturian Technology. So I'm like, I'm very different than the average person. But like last night I went bowling and I had the most fun. And it was like, oh my gosh, I thought, I haven't done anything like normal, like fun in like a long time, and was really just hanging out with people. And of course we're talking energy and different stuff, but it was about really being in the moment. And I realized that, there's been many, many times in my life that most of it that I haven't been very present because there's this constant bombarding of information that's around. And for myself personally, I didn't even understand what was actually happening to me until I began to understand what was happening to me. And, I happen to be a little different because the way that I chose to incarnate is as this frequency alchemist, carrying with my particular frequency all ranges of frequencies. So anytime I come near a person, even like I'm not, just arbitrarily talking, there's a calibration going on in your energy that happens naturally. And this has been happening my entire life. So for me, I've been like, I don't even, I haven't known what's going on, in anything. So I find personally, it's such a relief and a wonderful thing to be in a now moment and have an actual experience, because if anybody can hear anything out of what we say today, and what I'd like to say today is that the opportunity is it's brand new. You are brand new. How fun is that? How freeing is that? Because that's the absolute truth. That's why it's the frequency of truth, because it is every single now moment is its own now moment. It's absolutely authentically unique. and you can be absolutely brand new. And what you talked about, Tyler, yes, it's about a belief system, but you can actually have that as an experience when you have an experience, because that's the thing, is we're not actually experiencing, right? We're in some dialogue of what we think we have. I mean, how often is it that, you're in one place, but your mind is going everywhere and you're doing, right? Because that's the game. And so, yes. So one thing I will say too is, in this process, you have to take charge of your mind, because yes, this reptilian consciousness has used the mind. So we have to own our mind. We have to know that. We have to be the ones sort of saying about these boxes and these things that we've been in. So I always tell people, I say, like, you wouldn't let somebody just come in your home and kick your dog or whatever. So why are you letting all this in your mind? And that's what you were saying, Tyler, what you're talking about, how like not being bothered. And that's actually a very good thing. It's about making a decision about what I choose to align to, and then not allowing that dialogue saying, oh, well, that's just avoidance, that's whatever. Because see, that's all part of the game. That's like, how about we start to decide for ourselves how I want to feel, and recognizing that this is another huge thing, is that we have been pushed away from feelings and told to use the mind, forget your feelings, use the mind. But again, that's so clever, because your feelings are the mechanism of creation. It's everything that we're creating. And so when allowing yourself to feel whatever it is, without judgment, allowing that yourself to feel, and then allowing those, because most likely the first things you're going to feel is depressed, upset, all those. Because another reason why is because you're kind of, think about it like releasing, sort of moving up the range of emotions. And this is what's happening. So if we say that fear is my base and fear is this crazy energy, blah, 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 then sort of the next denser is shame, blame, anger, da, 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 da. So, and they're sort of moving up. And so if you just have that sort of perspective that when you've hit depression, you're actually better. And so then from there can come a sense of neutrality that then can start to shift into curiosity, inquisitive, excitement.
Well, that's interesting. He said if you're in depression, you're actually better, because and that's true, because you're not getting out of it unless you learn a lesson. There's a lesson there. So
true.
So when you,
well, it's like sadness, you're at least you're feeling
yes
those emotions, and that's the most, like you said, the most important thing is to feel whatever's coming up without judgment, without saying I shouldn't be feeling this and trying to suppress it.
Exactly.
That's where the problem comes in. Yeah.
Exactly, that whole, because that's all part of the game. Exactly, when you allow yourself to feel, period, right? And here's the thing. Okay, so I'm going to go back to, remember I said everything's about matching frequencies. So the reason that a lot of times all we're feelings is depressions and sadness and all that is because those are the ones available. Because those are the ones available to match. Because how many people are actually happy? Right?
Yeah.
Right? So if you're happy, it's pretty hard to stay in that. So and you're being bombarded with all these energies and frequencies forcing you somewhere else. So that's why, again, it's like, okay, well, let me just, if you could just imagine all of that is you're just going to observe it, but you're going to observe it in a place of neutrality with your heart open. And who are you observing? You're observing yourself, and you're simply observing as though it's another person. And you're sitting there and you begin to ask too, like, what are you feeling? What is this? Where is this coming from?
Why are you feeling
Someone just said in the chat, depression is better. LOL, this show might just be saving my life.
There you go. Don't get an earth template and a frequency adjuster.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. No, it's true. There's it's all about how you perceive everything, right? It's it's what you make of it. Every situation is what you make of it. And more, we realize our thoughts create our reality. And it's just stuff we've never been taught. And even when we hear concepts like that, it doesn't quite sink in. You have to constantly be reminded. That's just how it is. It's just like a program, like programming, how they program us is constant. It's constant. We're bombarded with it. And to deprogram us, we have to constantly remind ourselves of these concepts that we're learning about. I hear about stuff all the time. It's like, oh my God, I need to do that. I forget about it. And like a month later, I hear it again. I'm like, I forgot all about that. I need to start doing that. And then I still won't do it. And then until you hear it so many times. So it's just, it's a constant, it's important to remind yourself. Yeah. Tongue tied.
And it goes back to everything that we, saying that this is so simple and so complicated at the same time, only because there's all this dialoguing. If we could, to make this super simple, if you could imagine that you are really just this amazing being sitting in a place of stillness, and you're listening to all this stuff, and you're not just listening, you're watching, you're hearing, because a tremendous amount of information is coming through the eyes. Literally, the eyes are the window of the soul. And so there's a tremendous amount of information, technologies, all kinds of things coming through there, coming through the ears, coming through all of that. And so if you could just become the observer of all of that, this gets real, real simple. Because once I'm in, if I can have just this, the one concept to go, oh my gosh, none of this makes any sense. I don't want any of this. And just be in that now moment going, this is so interesting. And get in that, you'll start to see, and it gets very fun. It gets exciting. And you start to have this kind of energy. And when I'm watching that, we talk about downloads, I can see, this is how I'm watching dimensional fields, like from myself. I watched myself literally like pluck completely out of that third dimensional field. It felt like it was coming from below. It's like sucked up. And so I'm sitting now in this, I was sitting in a fourth dimensional field, now I'm in a fifth dimensional field, and I can see the fields, they move out like this, and they actually look sort of like circles, of these fields. And so it's like this awareness that I'm sitting in these fields and I can kind of feel them all. And I've been, realigning the 12 strands of DNA. And I was doing that the other day, and I can feel that. And what's wild is once you do, you have an awareness of everything around. Like, that you would be surprised how many animals there are around, and I can see them all, and all the different collectives. All these beings that are standing. It's like, oh wow, I don't know, who are you? And I can see them all now. It's like this. It's this interesting array of what's really here and what's going on. It's so full that if you actually have an awareness of it, you'd go, oh my gosh, no wonder I'm like, feeling like this all the time. Like you don't even know. But when you're able to be in that now moment and just take a simple thing, make it really simple to say, well, look, I'm feeling something. I don't know, because yes, there's a dialogue of whether I think, I have money, I don't, whatever, but this body is feeling something, that I have control over. I do, know? And so what is that? Begin to get curious. Just be curious. Because the more curious you become of that, the more aware you will become, because all information is available to all. It's all here. I used to say, somebody had to write the book, why not me? Because it just comes to you, and shows up. And so all of this is available. Mm-hmm. So for people who don't know, all they, I keep getting simple, just get present.
Simple.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing all this with us. It's clear to me that you've had this on your mind for a while, and this is just like, it's like you're just channeling this information out. People need to hear this. This is the important stuff. So we appreciate everything you're doing for us, and keep these templates coming, because they could catch on, and it's important. What I'm feeling with this shirt right now, I don't know what it is, but I'm like, I feel like I'm buzzing. Like, I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a combination of things, but either way, it's a good feeling. It's definitely a good feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice grounding, and yes, and that's why I have that. Like I said, I have a course going on right now to clear these frequencies. It's kind of like we begin to see why we're here, and what I feel, at least at this time, as everything's evolving, that for my personal sort of contribution to humanity is about helping people get into that 0 point and release these frequencies, because I'm all about frequency. That's just really I have a lot of Arcturian, Andromedan, Palladian, all kinds of these different energies. And it's just sort of the quality, so to speak, of my soul signature.
Speaking speaking of frequency, I have a little message that I'm just being like poked at right now. They want me to get it out. I had a session with Allison Coe a few days ago, and we end up going into my life in the secret space program, which is happening simultaneously. Um, it was an absolutely insane session. I was under for over 2.5 hours, but um, in the secret space program, apparently I'm monitoring the reptilian control on the planet and the types of manipulation they're using and which groups are using what types of manipulation in what area. And we looked at Canada, and the reason I said stronghold earlier, it showed, because I'm monitoring it, we know that for some reason there's a heavy, strong reptilian presence still in Canada, and that's why we see what we see happening there currently in the 3D world. And they are, and specifically near British Columbia on the west side, there's some vortex or some portal there that's actually causing people in that area to ascend quick. Like they're going to quickly ascend, right? I can't remember how it was exactly worded, but it's going to be an accelerated ascension in that area. That's what it was. So the reptilians that still have a grip there, we're going to be putting this, they have like this device that puts out a frequency that keeps everybody, it affects your blood actually. And it keeps everybody basically from ascending and cuts off the God connection. And it's a device they've been using for a while. But what I was seeing is that they were putting replacing the device with like a more upgraded model, although it's not going to work because like they're at the end of their road. And we were working to, what we were doing was trying to come up with a treaty, like create a peace treaty to basically, because they know their time's up, and they were like pleading for an extension, and we're like, no, it's over, time's up, but they're still like trying to throw everything they got at these certain areas. And the message that came through was like, watch Canada, because once you start seeing things, positive news in Canada, like really positive news in Canada, you know, a treaty was made and now they've really lost control. Like they're already at the end of the road, but for some reason they still have some say. So when we start getting news from Canada in particular, we know something happened that we can start celebrating, and we are definitely on a positive timeline, which we're on anyway. But like you said, there's so many timelines playing out at once. I just felt compelled to share that, and that was like a tiny snippet of the whole thing. It was incredible. So I might be sharing more of it other times.
I love that. And that's so, I know why you were guided to share that, is because, you know, what this whole kind of conversation and this template and everything is really about, again, why it's brought on the shirt, is because it is about not just bringing hope and sharing with people and letting them know that the light is really here, but you know, and helping individuals have that feeling in whatever way we can. This is the biggest thing that I'm recognizing. You know, it's like we're here as these light, I always say light seeds, because a worker actually is part of the false matrix, because it makes work is as a, you know, an essence of the whole survival aspect. So I'm trying to shifting the term light seeds, or star seeds is like.
I like light seeds actually.
I like that a lot.
I like that a lot. Yeah. So that's what I'm referring to. So we are, you know, as these light seeds, the seeds, right, as we're planting and we're creating. This is what we're here to do, and to help all of humanity. And that's what I hope, as you know, obviously, you know, bringing these technologies and all this, but the bigger picture is to plant those seeds, to really help humanity know that, you know, we are light and you are loved and you are not alone, and this is moving, and you know, we it's already done. I mean, we are the most fantastic time in the Earth's history, because this whole enslavement is done. And so just allow to your best ability of whatever it is that you're feeling in this now moment. And I think that's beautiful what you shared, because we need to know this on whatever level the person is at. You know, some people are on a very 3D level where they need to hear, you know, things like, look at the news, or look at where this is, and here's your examples, because whatever it is that in essence is going to trigger or align with something that's going to allow them to open up more with their light. That's what we're doing as these, light seeds. So I felt that right away. I was like, oh yeah. And of course, both of you guys are amazing light beings. I gravitated to both of you right away, and I feel that, yeah, which of course you're amazing. And I totally feel with you, Tyler, like yours, like, whoa, there's all kinds of stuff going on with you.
You have no idea what it's like.
Yeah. Oh, I do. I can feel your energy, the two of you. It's really great. And I feel the energy a lot. And I'm actually really happy to have you wear that as often as you can, because I think it's really great for you. And especially as things are going to be opening up more. Yeah, you as you're awakening, that's perfect for you. I'm sure that's why you had to be, you are the first one having one, actually. So
yeah, I'm gonna have to get a few of them, or just start sleeping in it or something.
Yeah, I would actually.
I'll be astral traveling all over the place.
Yeah. Well, I think it would be really great. Yeah, you need to get one too and get one. But I really feel
everyone listening to this needs to get one, right?
Yeah, they do. Really, I would think so. Yes.
Yeah. And one last time for any new people, these shirts are available at frequencyadjuster.com. That link is below, and it's back in the chat again. Aaron just posted the link. And I want to thank Christina Love. I believe she's in here, and she gave us a donation earlier. I never got to thank her. And anybody else who might have,
Christina.
Anyone else who might have given us a donation, thank you.
Beautiful.
I'm sorry, when I'm listening, it's hard to pay attention to the chat at the same time. So anyway, thank you guys. Thanks for the moderators and everybody who's in here. And then Woke One, I don't know who you are, but I've been noticing some of your comments, and they're actually really fascinating. You said earlier, we were talking about the clones. You said they're all clones. They're all body doubles. It's a show. I was like, yeah, I think you might be right.
Yeah, right. I think so too. I know it's pretty. It's like with your secret space program, that was so great. The shows that you guys did. And I mean, it's like every time you think you know something, you go, oh my gosh, so it's quite literally anything that's ever been in the movies is absolutely real. And that's like, so that's just kind of as another thing to think about when you asked about like the sort of the final show and why this has to come up is just imagine an individual who doesn't know anything. And if they had to jump right to Z of like, oh, here we have secret space, it's not going to compute within their brain. Yeah. There has to be some kind of a level of waking up, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
It's too much. And really think about the bigger thing of that. It would be traumatic. And that is opposite of what the desire. That's why it's coming up in the way that it is. It's got to show up that way.
Yeah,
exactly.
Desire is not to traumatize, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, this has been a lot to unpack. It's a lot of beautiful messages, but the comments are, people are loving this stuff. They say you're a great teacher, by the way.
Thank you.
So will you just let people know where they can follow you or book a session? You do sessions, right?
Sure. I do. Yeah. KathleenaHailley.com. You can go, actually have a website up now. So you can do sessions with me there or figure them out. There's also the classes that I said I have some recorded classes that you can purchase that are on there. I also have a live one that I'm currently doing. That's Tuesday. We're in the third one of this 5-week series, this activation series. Restoring your human template. That's also on the front page. You can still sign up for that, and they'll get the recordings for the other two.
So the sessions, what can people for someone who might want to book a session, what can they expect?
Sure.
What's gonna?
Yeah. So, how I work is that when you sit with me, I'll ask you wherever you are, and as I'm sitting with you and asking you, I'm stepping into your energy. I'm already kind of looking at things of what's going on, and I, in essence, experience your human template. So it's like a vision. So I step in, and whatever is not in the highest and best for you, that's showing up within your body or not in alignment with your soul, begins to shift and move right away. So as I'm stepping in, I'm looking at it and start to move. And so everything from, all kinds of things. I have things where people are, a lot of past life, a lot of lineage things that are going on. There are implants. I see there's contracts that you've made, all kinds of things that show up within your whole being. And so as I'm stepping in, I'm just shifting those, moving those, expanding your energy out, plugging you into the organic grid. It's a lot of things that are going on as I'm working with you, but on many, many levels, you know.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's amazing that you're out there doing that, because when people reach out and they want to explore and do the healing, it's people like you that may even make it possible. So thank you for that. Guys, we're going to start wrapping this up, but before we do, don't forget to grab a ticket for the Starseed Adventures Conference, March 11th through the 14th in Cocoa Beach, Florida. We will be down there doing our Experiences Lounge, and there's going to be a lot of great speakers, and there's a few tickets left. So come hang out. There's only a few tickets left. I think less than 10 at this point. I'm not exactly sure. So if you feel drawn to come down there, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be an intimate conference. There's also live stream tickets available. And also they're doing 5 free live stream tickets for anyone who goes to the starseedadventures.com website and signs up for the email list. Basically, submit your email on the website and you're entered to win a free live stream ticket for the conference. So if you can't afford it, you can't travel right now, make sure you get on the website. You might be able to win a free pass.
Yeah, and I highly recommend that you guys go. I'm not going to be able to go because I'm actually going to be in Florida like a couple weeks later doing a kind of conference thing. So I'm
really?
Yeah. But I wish I was going, because you guys are going to have a fun time, and I highly recommend anybody going, because I know most of the people. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. So
yeah,
I think that's it. Unless you have anything else, Aaron.
No.
Guys,
It's been amazing. Thank you so much.
Amazing for you too. Love you guys. And
so great having you back on.
Yeah, thank you.
Somebody said they can't get a ticket. There's an error page. Darlene, if you want to email us or send us a message, we can definitely see if we can get that fixed for you. So our email is below in the description as well, or journeytotruthpodcast@gmail.com. Sorry, Cathleena.
No, you're good. Yeah. Beautiful.
Okay, guys, have a great night. We'll be back Thursday night with Z Earthstar Healer. We're going to be getting into some more really important information. She has some stuff she's been kind of really wanting to share and get out, and we're also going to be talking about the conference again. So,
Z, you're going to love that. We love her.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thank you, guys. Thanks to our mods. Thanks to our fans. Thank you, everybody, for all your support. And thank you, Cathleena, once again.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Aaron, for sharing all the links.
You're welcome.
All right, guys.
All right.
All right. Good night. Good night, everybody. Enjoy your evening. We'll see you later.
Take care.
If I can figure out how to end this real quick. There we go. All right.